Y'all said that, y'all could. And Paisa and 258 African lads with your app. You kept about 20 known prisons and then more to come. Yep, infinity. One of the prisons, the African prisoners, they're hygienic African gods. They learned Vaj Hmong, so I let them go. There's three who truly escaped back to Earth and then went back to Africa, Egypt. Yes, out of heaven, that's true. Those no Hmong, those no Vaj Hmong language, that's true. And they spoke fluent, they spoke fluent, they're fair. They learned, simply run from A to B and wait for the knights to finish off the suckers and the mutt sons. And then, whatever the mutt, white African, black African, right there, he nodded. And then right there, after a few trillion years, the knight nodded fair. The knight brought him right back to Earth, and then he left for Egypt. Yeah, that's true. And right there, those are the lucky survivors. There's 19, 19, 100% law norms. Yep, 100% is due. Because you learn from among you were lucky. Yeah, you was lucky. You was the true survivor. The double-wanded wielder is murdered by Bob Paisen. Yeah, that's 100% law. Paisen, three fucking alloy types, and they cry. They wrote, Grandma cursed them. Yeah, Grandma cursed them. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. It was so graphic, the Egyptian god wrote that them are the lucky Africans who are truly African. They not steal, yeah. And then they were born with those available to them, so there's normal, normal. And they just they run from A to B, and they survive, they survive normal. And right there, Pi released them back into Africa, Egypt, and they matched level 3, Pi had level 3 Egyptian, yep, that's law. And then eventually, Pi, you kept those in the prison too, and then they matched level 1, that's true. And it is very graphic. When you render Pi, you're only 12 seconds. You can match Pi side of star. Organic Y gods in your side of heaven match it for 8 to 9 minutes, and that's when they knew it. Because once his RPMs kick in and his rendering kick in, he is gazillion times faster. Yeah, that was true. I saw 4 seconds Pi your body match, but 9 seconds later, Knights flew. Yeah, Knights fly. Y'all good. Like he says eventually there's 19 survivors. Yeah, 100% law normal. Yeah, y'all good. Outside of Egypt, Egypt, brought right back down to blue planet Earth and left for Egypt, 100% law. There's New Zealand African gods and goddess, so they come and pick those up normal. They transfer back to their African side of the heaven normal. Them, and it was way graphic. Those survivors said to the fucking drug addict, don't, because we'll bring you right back down there and cut you up. That's 100% law, those norms. African sun god's been extinct, that's law. And it was way graphic. He said, Pi, how the fuck can you even respect them? They hate you. Yeah, they hate you. That's fine. Yeah, okay. Me and a new Milky Way. That's true. 3 hours later, he knew it. Yep, you kept only Earth to message you and your knights and your families, but 2 hours of graphic fights. The night releasing it is not occurs normally on normal. There's enough prison, there's enough African gods prisons in there, they match the decks eventually, that's true. Those are the lucky ones because they're like African men, not knowing anything, run to A to B, to A to B, to C to D, and hit normal. And then they went bred with the women again, and then population went again, and then knights went in there, kept getting normal. They lucky, they lucky. 2 hours he picked up home, lucky. And then, the knights said, sure. And those are the lucky ones. And right there, they said something that works, and then Painade, 100% do. It was there. Paisan, those are released back in African. When he came down, he spat and said, fuck those things, Pi. Yeah, you smart. It was 20 hours of him gutting his own son, Pi, 100% green layers to work yet. And he said, in life, son, we have been found to be evil, so we not wear any armor, and we're super fast. Yeah, that's 100% law. And then he flew twice the speed of the knights, Pi, always just do. And he cut up 2 night mistresses, always 100% has the green layers to work yet. And he says, those are the ones that protecting him while he gutted a knight who was Cantonese. Pi, that's fine, normal green layers to work yet. And then the Cantonese says, even if Grandpa said that, me not want that. And Pi wrote, you should have used the parent sword. Yeah, 100% all normal. Yeah, walk, yeah. And then that's why Pi Tia Hai got to Pi Tia cho nơi chia vị lời tư trâu tua trâu lại nha. Cho nơi cho mua mong Pi bỏ thì chỉ chậu ha. Nữ tuan gia ha, nữ trong mong rong ya Pi cho nơi đó mong ma đô tới chơi yọc lạnh ở Pi. Trong the total the gamona more go to ya the daily those you talk on the chimona. Yeah, there's no more survivors after that. That's 100% law. That's no Yaka. It was so graphic. The knight knew it, Pi. that you killed two of the fucking night mistresses because them are pure evil. Pi, yeah, that's my normal. It was there, her said, I can't believe Pi let, 19 Africans go because, to show you, those are lucky, they're lucky men. They sell, them themselves. They not steal, them not steal. That's true. And then 3 hours, he's lucky. He smiles. He's like, yeah, my physique passed. Yeah, that's true. Yep. The wild side, passed. In 2 hours, they knew it. He knew. That's all he knew, and he escaped normal. Yeah, lucky. It was so graphic. Todo incredible. The black dude laughs or he said, Paisa, when those escaped went to Egypt, they came back down with their grandma yesterday. Yeah, they're allowed to visit and play on Earth Infinity normal, but you can't go to the space country. That's 100% law. Yep, off limits is the Asian space countries. That's 100% law. Yeah, and he's happy. He said, holy shit, Pi was so evil. Look at his royalty normal. Yep. And then he's different. Yeah, different. Eventually, Pi, the fan Africans came back down and laughed with you. Yeah, 100% normally do. It was so graphic. They wrote, that sexaholic drug addict African son husband dead. Yep, everything defaulted to normal again. Yeah, normal. Green lights do work. Yeah. Everybody's wealthy again, normal. Yep, they leave each other alone, them leave each other alone, normal. Yeah, y'all good. It was so graphic. Two royal gods laughed with you, and they spoke his language fluently. Pi, yeah, that's fine. They wrote Pi was the evil god that done that, but Pi let those escape because they're innocent. Yeah, they're innocent. That's true. It was 2 hours of the New Zealand mom wrote Pi was so evil, Pi gutted 12 trillion souls. And Pi's Knights match always, 4 times the speed or more, most of the time, a few trillion times more. And liars are you, Pi, that's true. Allah is a liar too. Those liars are you, and they wrote Pi, Allah know the divine dragons. It was 70,000 plus. Yep, he bows down. Those are the redesigned dragons from European. Yep, the bug-like, eyes and stuff, but they're really cool. And those, they're like praying mantis, but their neck is longer. And then it's really fancy armor. Yeah, they look like, Western dragons. They look like Baphomet, but cooler. The body looks like Baphomet, but cooler, but way cool. You redesigned it right, Pi. But those, 70,000 Allah bows down. And then Paisa, 5-sided stars, liar, Pi, 90 trillion, he bows down. That's true. Yep, those sold up 90 trillion in the space country. Him bow down. Him knew it. There's no point. Yeah, there's no point in fighting Pi. Yep. Because laughter is them. They don't even see Pi once it's in the night kit. And then, once it's born, it is immune. It has immune to peerless poison. Yep, that's true. And then once it put on the armor, it's 100% immune. Yeah, that's true. And then later on in life, he knew it. Even the peerless poison is poisonous towards it when it is organic. When it becomes an android knight, it's 100% immune. Very graphic, Pi. The best fight scene was Allah's son did it twice. He defeated one only to find himself missing. Yeah, that's true. It was there he noticed 14 trillion gone per second. That's true. And he says, I have never met any of Pi's, divine demi-dragon gods, god delties. When they saw your European god version Pi, they knew it. It was so fast, it gutted 500 trillion regular Persians per second. That's true. He said those is because one of them wrongfully defeated a knight. That's true. And then the dragons automatically summon with new knights. Yeah, that's true. The Hmong Cantonese knight is always there. The Hmong Mandarin knights are there too, but they're hard to summon. Yeah, they're hard to summon to Earth. And it's very graphic, Pi. It was those prisoners escaped, and then that's fine. Yeah, those are normal, because those have reached something Pi called, intelligent enough to know right and wrong. So Pi let it live, and it goes back home. The dumbass didn't believe you, Pi. Thought that was the most evil. Pi wrote the most evil was smarter than that. Yeah, was smarter than that. Those Pi went straight in and butchered. That's true. Yes, true. I know it's all these equations. That's true. 第三冇人猜你們講嘢，你們講咧。說問這無個比賽，I told so idea，我一路個包括要排個點的朋友，要排我就路得多些，但是要排的起來沒有給我呀，排到了沒有給 fair。And the coolest part, Pi, your son's their infinity. But when those Egyptians visit the planet, they're allowed to always 100% the green lights do. Those are the lucky exceptions, that's true. And then there's always New Zealand African, so yep, exception, yeah, normal. Those pie murder in the Kazillion, yep, y'all could. Right there in Dragon Space Country Gone Wild, that's true. And it was so fucking evil, pie. He went in there and when all the Royal Hawks are out of there, but 400 years to 500 years, yep, it becomes a prison, yeah, automatically. And when the Divine Dragon or Knights are sick, they send a bot and an atomic bomb is used, and then normally, yeah, black space is converted over, and then 48 surnames, 48 DNA strands cannot go in there, yeah, because they go in there, they shout your name, boom, atomic bomb hits again. It resets, yeah, it resets. The poison cannot be deleted out of the Milky Way, that's true. Paisa, it was 4 hours of people wondering how you done that, and then they figure that's law, yeah, science law. And then he has no idea. Even the alien mammal creator of the Milky Way gets hit with that kind of atomic bomb, right? It dies. Yeah, it dies. That's true. 3 fucking hours, pie. People knew it. It glows pink. Yeah, it glows white pink. Yeah, white pink, red pink, and boom! It hit his brain. That is pie. Yeah, that is pie's real microchip in the Milky Way. 2 hours, and he knew it. You is the evil god that death from her. That's true. Yeah, by death from a European mom. But they've been died, them been dead for so long. That's true. And by you done it right is that you appear in their god alloy and you appear in the molecules in the Milky Way. 2 fucking hours they know that's Pais. Yeah, that's true. And then 3 days later they looked, it is you, and 2 hours Egyptian knew it. Paisan, your real name, and white is kept a secret. That's 100% law. That's true. And then in Asia, yep, your brain tissue and spinal cord retinas are there in the demicobra, and that is in stone metal alloy too. That's true. But emulation form, yep, that's true. And they knew it. They knew it. You not go back in the old alloy. That's true. The funny thing is, when the alloy hits, they know you appear in pink. Yeah, that's law because Paiso was in pink. That's true. I told Luan có sự tôi chỉ thốt cái có phải sẽ Egypt na là muốn tàu là cho Jerusalem bro they have all the right yes to là muốn mấy lúc đấy kiểu rau từ tại I told you what so tonight the all got one yeah Luna okay yeah that is okay yeah, it's okay because the night owns it yeah the night owns it that's true. And the knight laughs so hard. The knight says, "Pi, I've never seen Grandpa ever get so pissed off when he was there. His own son was beheaded because they wanted those white women over there, and that is not okay. Yeah, that's not okay. That's true. It was there that not even the Hmong Knights touched. Hey, that's 100% law. Oh, yeah, that's law. That's norms. The dumbass didn't see that 200 trillion years, Pi. Those kept visiting that sector, and then yet the sector's still there. Night can take care of it normally. Yeah, green layers do. It is graphic because I saw 20 sectors shut down when the grandpa went to check. It was all African again. Yeah, normal. Yeah, normal. And then he went atomic bomb. Yeah, atomic bomb. Yep. The grandparent spirits check. The Hmong Caucasian spirits check. Wearing the night armor. Yep. Atomic bomb. Yeah, atomic bomb. Normal green layers do. Yeah, that's done. Yeah, that's done. It was so graphic. Pi. The police wrote Pi was so nice, but when the grandpa thought that he owned it forever, the knight wrote, "No, you don't. That's only rental. Yeah, it's only rental. Yeah." And then they're happy. Yeah, they're happy. It was rental. The rental was because he was hygienic. That's true. Five Sided Star knew it and didn't go there because if he go there, Paul delete him that way. In the end, those that are released, they poison. They didn't dare come back normal. Yeah, that's normal. And then the weird one that is wild is New Zealand. He kept coming back down and forth, and that's normal, Pi. But he's pretty slow. Yeah, he's pretty slow. The thing that Pi not Kate was those type that Pi released because those they're like real Egyptian. They absorb metal from a different Milky Way, and they get faster and faster. And Pi matched through emulation, but Pi will never tell you. The only thing topper was Five Sided Star. That's true. That dude is the only thing that scares. Eight Sided Star not scared Pi, but Five Sided Star scares Pi. That fucker is true to his word. Yep. That motherfucker Ben quick. Yeah, he Ben's quick. Yeah, it's true. Pie's not afraid of all. Pie's afraid of Five-Sided Star. The dumbass is not believing you. If you put an eight-sided star to verse Five-Sided Star, Five-Sided Star laughs like Pie. Yeah, that's true. Five-Sided Star, though, when Pie's versing that, Pie's out of the Milky Way. Yeah, Pie's out of the Milky Way. Yeah, Pie not find out. That thing is super quick. The Knight fought it, Pie. They summoned your other form carrying the red sword to fight it. It was only 4 seconds. It managed to speed and cut it up after 4 seconds. Boom. Nearly 8 days. Yep, it's gazillion times faster. Yeah, Five-Sided Stars faster.
They saw you, Pi, your robot spirit form fought it, and then you match it in the new Milky Way. And then I saw 2 hours. Yeah, it went to 8 days. And after the ninth day, he said, God, Va, I know you can hear me from the other Milky Way. Yes, that is you too. I know you match, but you've been lied to. Your nights are 4 million times faster. Yeah, that's true. And then you knew it. That was eight-sided star normal. Green light always just do. Yeah, normal. And then that's why Pi. In reality, they knew it. Those are old benders. Yeah, that's true. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. And you know what happened, Pi? The five-sided star never dared invoke you, Pi. Yeah, that's normal. Yeah, he's more hygienic than yeah, that's true. Chỉ见到公仔有Pi啊，就講到你嘅見到公司 eight-sided stars，我能這麼大講到有都是。Tiếp Pi có đủ tu sĩ hậu đó có lúc nào lúc tới trở ra nó mua sĩ à nó mới chạy qua yeah green light always just do có đủ tu nào chỉ cho lâu yeah mới chạy qua yes do nó mua sĩ lên tới đó they're wealthy yeah they're wealthy and it is very graphic. He laughed for 8 hours. This is Pi. Can you believe this? He thinks that those messages are not reaching Pi. They do reach Pi. Yeah, they do reach Pi. Yeah, that's true. There's a server, and in the simulator, Pi sync and Pi's trying to talk through. And when Pi you talk through, you time travel and you look and you laugh. Pi, yeah, you laugh. Pi. It was 8 hours of laughter, and then right there you fought, and then two more bots came in to finish off the sentences, and then there's recording view from the other star system, syncing to it and talking 100% as do. Yes, we do. And Pi, when you did that, they cry. They cry. They wrote, "What the fuck? Pi is alive. Yeah, Pi is alive." And right there, eight solder star laugh with Pi. It was nine. It was 12 seconds slower than you, Pi. Yeah, that's true. And he says, "I have never seen Pi." Told me and Hmong that is Pi. Pi is in that Milky Way over there. That's true. And Pai said it was so graphic. The bullies knew it. Yeah, that is your other form that your knights and divine dragons summon, and yeah, the data gets to you, and that is 80 to 90% of the time what you would say. And then when you're trying to talk to it real, yep, the full sentence came out, and another bot delivers the message, and then syncs up, and then it, yep, right there, the body is summoned again, and boom, it finishes the sentence. Yeah, that's 100% allows norm, and then the body, yep, disappears normal. Y'all could. It was so graphic when it's summoned that way. It has no sword. Yeah, it has no sword. That's true, and that's when Five Sided Star knew it. Yep, your message got to him, and it was so graphic. He nodded. Yeah, 100% law norm screen. They used to walk. Yeah, Eight Sided Star was the dweller. Allah's a dweller, and 9 hours later, Allah gained another message from Pi. That's true. It was so graphic. He says, "I have never seen those grandpas. Yep, those are the most evil." And then the 19 African Egyptians, yeah, you let escape. Those are the most African, so you let them escape. Yeah, normal. And the innocent African, yep, yep. And I saw how their sons die inside of the prison. Yeah, that's true. It was 9 terrifying facts, Pi. You own them. Yeah, 100% we do. And you're the smartest god. You made a new star system, solar system. That's true. A new Milky Way. That's true. And that's why Allah wrote, Pi. Your son's 300 trillion still you. The other five-headed king cobras, them left, and there was near 98 trillion. Yeah, 98 trillion star system. Only the spinal cord DNA shuts off. The metal shuts off. And Pi said it was that generation that scared him. He says, "How come the five-headed king cobra aunt kept coming back? Here's a new bread. Yeah, here's a new bread. It's trying to make more, and there's no more. Yeah, there's no more seeds. All the genuine seeds escape, or they're trapped in the Milky Way, and the DNA has been used up, and so they cannot cut past the Milky Way wall and fly because they will have no place to dwell." That's true. Yep, then will melt. Yeah, then will melt. That's true. 3 hours the lecture would stand. Paisa, even your New Zealand and your Israeli and your Hebrew type and your Shalom type pie, they cut through and only 80 trillion. Yeah, 80 trillion. Yep, the dragons lie, the grandpa lie. That's fine. Yep, they shut off the molecule. Yeah, 100% normal green layers do. And then the skin that you left works 700 trillion times. But Allah was so tamperous. All that was left was 80 trillion. Yeah, 80 trillion. Yep, those are your eyeballs, your emulation eyeballs in the Milky Way and alloy. It only works 80 trillion times. And he flew out to his new Milky Way and he sealed it. And 9 minutes later, people scream. And they knew it. That is your son. Yeah, that is Pai's son. Yeah, that's true. And then he left a bunch of them, Pi normal.
And he says, now go in life, clean up your face, and then, go talk to your Grandma Hawk and Grandpa Hawks and thank they for letting you have their resources. And then God Law, that is all Pi's gold, silver, and copper penny tokens. Pi real, real. It was so graphic. Two gods came right back down and wept. You left the Milky Way, and then you left a bunch of countries for 5-sided star, 8-sided star to play around like that. And then Pi Allah's up there sitting on a pedestal, but Allah only has a few million space countries, that's true. And then Israel is lucky. 57 is legendary. Yeah, 57 is legendary. Yep, he's a Vang demon that met Pi through, Pi microchipped him up there. And then 57 was caught, and 59 was caught on Earth. When they were caught on Earth, they were with poor Afghanistan pirates, and they are smart. Yeah, they're smart. Yeah, they're smart in 56. 56 is that almond type pie. Yeah, he's the one. In the future, he's stuck in the Milky Way, but 57, 59, they're lucky. They left the Milky Way with one of Pi King Cobras, sons, and right there, Pi. They left and they went to a new star system. Yeah, those are the Persian ethical demons. That's true. There is really in Saudi right there. A few passed, and then the horn demons passed. Yeah, they're luckier. Yeah, they're luckier. Right there, they knew it. Those are the lucky ones, and then everything is record. Yep. You break the law, and the King Cobras, the Hmong Dragon Emperor gods, not tell you why they deducted points and why they put you there. That's true. He has horns. 3 hours later, Paisa, 56 is pretty much cursed to serve the Milky Way and work with your Knight's Infinity. But he teaches good elixir and alloy technology and science. Yep, and his clone copy from 57 works all the way. Yep, 57 technology up there is 100% proof. Yeah, 100% Hmong in Persian. And they lie, they lie. The Anudikis match, yep, the Persian gods, Hawk match, yep, they luckier, they luckier. But they went through tremendous suffering, and they are more hygienic. The Sumerian dirtbags are the grandparents of Hebrew. That's true. That's why 3 fucking generations then full Pi kicked his butt. That's true. And the rain gods got them. Yeah, got them. I'm as bad as Hebrew. That's true. 2 hours, people knew it. Also, mo rain though. Don't know as yeah, that's norm. And then the African Egyptian was told, "Yep, if you find any rain god, got away." That's true. I told Yaki, I told the boy, him went and theft from your grandpa ancestry, and he ruined those bloodlines, and him not dare come back down. That's true. Allah was the only one caught. And Pais, and you see what he said. You think Pai's evil? Do what me and my grandpa did. Go ruin 12 trillion symbols and stay up there in their space country. And then you think you're supreme. Wait till you see what Pi left. Yep, in the Milky Way, yep. Yep, the Persian grandparents, demons, they know immediately. Yeah, they know immediately. When they summon the Israel mom and dad and parents, they not tell those human gods. And dragons out of the heaven, when they break the law, they get decrypted and owned and studied. And then, the parents of the demons left, they left immediately. Yeah, they left immediately. Because they are the real banks and brokers, that's true. They're the real law norms, that's true. 3 hours, he didn't know. 57 babies, summoned a bunch of Israeli, and then the good ones went to the full Israeli Hmong Dragon. Yep, those are lucky. Yeah, those are lucky. They have a better citizenship. Yeah, that's true. And as much like America, that's true. And it's very graphic. Those are lucky. The ones not make it, he wrote, stupid ass, stupid. Pays on that pays it. Go ball. Don't English out there. They thought that was so easy to go. We can't get through you, Pi. They lost about nearly trillion. Yeah, 70 trillion souls from Israel straight murdered. Yeah, that's true. Them were straight murdered because them broke the law. Yeah, them were somehow red, sinful, and how should we put this? Incessive. Yeah, they were incessive, breaking the laws and stuff. And they were wrong. Yeah, they were wrong. And right there, 57 in Persia wrote, real. Yeah, real. Because his son's judge and all the parents judge. The goat demons are judging and the rams. And 14 minutes, you one Pi have. They wrote that's not why God, human culture anymore. Pi's right in 2 hours. And then 56 is still there. Yeah, he's still there. Yeah, he's still there in the Milky Way. Yeah, that's true. It was 56. Yeah, one of Pi's almond type demon. And it was freaking evil. Pi, it was evil. It was that in 64. If her still there in the Milky Way, lucky. And then Paisa in 57, real Persian demon, made another Milky Way. 59, legendary. 58 is legendary too. Yeah, that's true. They're the real Persian demon. The first grandpa generation that survived, that made it out of the Milky Way using Paisans. Yep. Yep, sons, bloodline, yep, normal. We're sons, yep, normal. The funny thing is, they're out of the Milky Way and a new Milky Way, and then it's very graphic 2 hours of 98 failing, 98 failing normal. It was there, he pointed, and Pi nodded, but Pi wrote, the fail rate is high, but you can continue, he has to. Yeah, I told the Chinjuna, he went to Ram to find out Ram has the pedestal, he had the pedestal of the Hmong Royal Hawks. They can lose all the papers, and the night will bring them back to all the space station. That Pi govern and Pi rule, that's true. And poured, yeah, that's true. It was there. He is thrilled, Paya. He's thrilled. He is the lucky ram. They tossed him right there and they wrote, Grandpa, we don't know what generation, but you is his bloodline, so go in there. Yeah, normal, yeah, normal. The funny thing is, Pi, 56 knew it. He is the one that is, yep, stuck in the Milky Way. He teaches good science. A lot of King Cobras picked up on him, and he has a lot of gold token, yeah. 20 billion to buy a UFO from Pi. Yeah, that's true. You can use that legally throughout all of Asia, space countries that Pi rule and govern. That's 100% import and design. That's true. And sealed in black space. That's true. Paisan, very graphic. 20 trillion, they just puked. They wrote, I can't believe it, Pi. Persia knew they lost 70 trillion souls, and those are Israel. And then Saudi, when Pi looked more into it, them are banned. Yeah, them are banned. And if there's an exception, it's because of the Israeli demons. Yeah, Israeli and lucky Saudi demons, that's true. Yeah, them are exception, that's true. And right there, their status in citizenship has, that's true. I told the community, hi, up high. But those are the lucky non-cowards. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one. Yeah, they won. Yeah, that's true. The others are not allowed in. And then when they go through New Zealand, all they get is a shitty space country from the night. And then the night knows, yeah, that's 100% law. That's norm. And then right there, 57 is informed, and all the others are informed. They visit the parents of the demon mass Perduvia, they're allowed to breed. And right there, they're teaching real King Cobra Emperor's laws and science and devices. They came back down to pour from the demon vipers on Earth Pie. They match devices and electricity and elixir. And right there, they're happy. Molecules and sticks match. Perform similar, and right there, they're pissed off because 57 is the higher encryption. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Pi built from 57. That's true. That's why Pi was able to defeat the Egyptian war guys. That's true. That's why 3 hours, her's looking for 57 DNA. Yeah, those. They're actually more advanced than I pose. Yeah, I pose. Yeah, yeah. The one that carries the serpent that spirals in his right arm. And Pi, they're 5 times more advanced. That's true. Yep, they're more advanced than him. And it was so graphic. They looked for those types. That was what Pi used, and yet he has, before Pi left, him has at least 30 trillion space countries, yep, to his offsprings, to his children, yeah, children, demon children, yep, that's true. And it was very graphic, which below. The wealthiest, yeah, the wealthiest. And it was so graphic, they knew it. And he and all the knights said, no, you not have the right to know, never ask, we never answer. And you push more, you will be deleted manually, murdered and massacred. Normally, that's true. And it was graphic. Hey, look, you go. Oh, boy, the wealthiest Persian type demons. Yep, the Vanguard. Yep, went into Hmong God, forehead of King Cobra. Yep, nation and of God. Yep, and that's why. Yeah, Hmong God, and right there, they flew around 2 hours. New Zealand summoned, and hers Butch at hers Butch is right in the Dragon Country, and that's 100% on those norms. And it was there that they learned that is one of the rare demons that spooked even Pi. Yeah, him done right. Yeah, him done right. His record is clean. Pass, good. Base him on that. 57. He'll palm a legendary 58, and the others, yep, they're pretty much normal. And then 56 was the one that tries to work Pi the most and fail. Yeah, fail. Right there, Pi endured the beatings, and then Pi nodded. Later on in life, him knew that all that added up. That's true. And then Pi let him play. Yeah, Pi let him play with the other King Cobras from Malaysia. And then in the end, he murdered several Cambodians and Malaysians. Yeah, through Hmong laws and Persian law. Yeah, Israel law. Yeah, that's true norms. As soon as they lie, yeah, the demon, the Vang demon, has every right to murder them. Yeah, that's true. And then it falls back to F-56 being a vain demon. Always worst case scenario, they put him back in, the space country that Pi bought for him. And Pi never gave him any more because I knew what him wanted. He was going to work Pi and then allow a lot of Israel gods and goddess in. And Pi said no.
And Pi said no. Accurate. There's a moment Pi said, "Hey, to the king go." Jerusalem is murdered and drag inside of him. That's law.
Yes, norms. The funny thing is, they said that there's a New Zealand branch. Pi wrote that's probably because of Pi's son, but he left them too. He divorced them, and then it defaults that they can live there until the Knights govern and an atomic bomb. That's true, and it was too fucking graphic to explain. The Knights are still playing so normal. Yeah, they still have the strength. It was near 90 trillion Pi when the same African release appeared there, and then the knight greeted the grandpa. He said, "Grandpa, you know Hmong, A plus. You lucky, yeah, but someday when we sick, we'll atomic bomb the space country. Until then, you have all the time, several years to escape. Go back and forth normally."
Yeah, normally.
He is happy, Pi. He knew it. He is the lucky African. He is full Egyptian, and he made fun of African sun god in the double wanded wilder.
Yeah, that's 100% all those norms.
And he is one of the 19 escapers.
Yeah, that's true. That's 100% law.
It was 9 hours of, he said, in Pi's prison, the law is like that.
Yeah, that's 100% law.
And then, the rest of the knights and the white god mercenaries that Pi hired, they're Saudi and they're Israel and the bunch of older generations of whites. They're going up there to kill, they're fighting off Iran, murdering them and looting back the space country and also older Hebrew.
Yeah, who done Sister Yao?
In Vietnam country in the past. Very graphic. They wore the shoe of the curly toe. Yeah, that's true. The chink theft it and thought Pi was the fool. Pi flicked him off. And real motherfucker. It was 4 fucking idiots fucking with you. Pi cut him up right there in Thailand. Pi wrote, "You isn't Sister Yao, y'all could." Her was one of the prettiest light-skinned women that Southeast Asian gods designed, and not the 5-headed cobras.
Yeah, Cobra gods who are Malay descent. And right there, Pi. Those are Burmese.
Yeah, those are the original Burmese, and then Cambodian. And the dumbass didn't believe you, Pi. He cried when he ruined that branch. Pi threw it all away.
Yeah, Pi threw it away.
Because it scares Pi that the stupid bitch can be so stupid trying to summon a fucking king cobra from fucking Cambodia that has the magic bullet. It renders right through.
Yeah, it renders right through the belly button.
Yeah, it hits critical. Yeah, it hits critical. Not matter the dex.
Yeah, not matter the dex.
And then the perimeter, it summons it automatically. Yep, and it becomes a real atomic pistol, atomic bomb that appears in the belly and shreds the god automatically. Yep, that's real. That's why Pi, the most graphic, those type, they were even murdered by Pi's knights. 8 trillion.
Yeah, 8 trillion are gone. That's true. And that's why they knew it. Your knight supreme.
Yeah, supreme. In life, the atomic bomb molecule and element is basically the plutonium. The second plutonium is the perilous electricity ray virus, which is, you see, the crescent moon and the circle. That is the Mexican god that Pi theft from.
That's true. Right there, they knew it. That is his poison ray. 2 hours, they hated you, Pi. They knew it. That's the same ray, same molecule that kills you. That's true. But it glows white, and then it glows you.
Yes, you, Pi. 2 hours later, they wrote, "I have never seen." Pi revealed that, and then 8 hours later, Egypt wrote fair.
Yeah, that's true.
The dumbass is, in fact, the double-wanded wielder and that white god that doubted you.
That's true.
And then the success rate is good. In the end, Pi left a lot of games. You got Tops, Beyblade. Yeah, Pi put that up there.
That's true.
You can play and win gold tokens.
That's true.
Those are for the poor gods and the gods who want to remain anonymous, normal. And then those are normal games. You, Pi, when you set it up, we have Internet 2.02 up there and laptop computers, right? We have DDR2 all the way DDR4. Yep, those are guaranteed. And then Pi, when you destroyed the human nations, all that was left was DDR8 and 9. Yep, DDR12.
Yeah, DDR12.
Yep, and then Pi saved those two. And then there was no more computer because 2800, Pi released the final strand.
That's true.
All human life forms gone. Yeah. It was 2006, 2600, 2700, and then Pi began evacuating humans to Mars, and those are the lucky Europeans. And then right there, Pi not tell you, yep, you're lucky. And then right there, perfect. And then the others, yep, they're London. Those are in the Book of Law. Them are crap. 2,800. Them are gone. The survivors after that, they're all fucking plastic skin DNA, and their lifespan isn't past a few thousand.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true. It was 4 fucking hours of life gone, and then them returning like, oh, we're supreme and shit. And Pi wrote, inhale poison. Yep, Pi's not even on the planet anymore for 700 trillion years. That's law, because that virus ray not good for organic human guys.
That's true.
3 hours later, knights are immune because they're android, yeah, android tissue cell and membrane. And then it's very graphic. He says, the dumbass is
Them, yeah, them 4 hours of that white god looking for his people. Him knew it, yeah, because it's deleted, science deleted. That's 100% law. That's norms.
Yep.
100% do.
Yep.